Language Center, and today we are very honored to have invited our speaker, Antony, to come and share some insights on how to deliver an academic presentation with a specific focus on presenting and designing infographics and visual data, such as graphs and diagrams. A little bit of information about our speaker, Antony. He's currently the editor of Uni-edit, and he's also a tutor at Center of Academic Literacy at Shida. He's also teaching at Zhengzhi Daxue, and he has years of experience in giving presentation and workshop related to academic English. I'm sure that I'm very confident that by the end of the workshop, you should be able to walk away with a lot of insights, and hopefully you'll be able to apply what you have learned today in your classes. So without further ado, please join me to welcome our speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If I don't use a mic, can you hear me okay? Thanks for coming. My name is Antony. Please call me Antony. I'm from the United States. I'll share a little bit about myself so you can warm up to my English, actually. But today we're going to talk about graphs, charts, and visuals. So some repeat information, but I work a lot with the Center for Academic Literacy at NTNU as an academic writing and public speaking tutor. I've also made dozens of videos for them that are public on YouTube about presenting graphs, charts, and images just like this. I do a lot of stuff at NTNU. I'm currently teaching at both National Taiwan University of Science and Technology and National Chung Hsing University in southern Taipei, both business English and journalism English. They're similar, but very, very different. My full-time work here, right? Uni-edit English editing. We edit and translate research papers, professional documentation, websites, and things like that. And I get to travel all around Taiwan to give presentations like this. So thank you for having me. I'm in Taiwan to do this. This is my purpose. And it's a lot of fun. I've been around Taiwan. Here's just some of the schools that I've worked with. That's all. There we go. About me personally, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio in the USA. Does anybody know where Cincinnati is? That feels right. That feels right. Good. It's southeast of Chicago, south of Detroit, north of Louisville, west of Pennsylvania, in the Midwest. This is the best photo you'll ever see of my city. It's much more average than this photo will suggest. Currently, I live in Wenshan in Taipei, so this is looking north. I live right in there, right in the middle of those buildings. Beautiful place. I started teaching many years ago in Japan. I had little children and grandmas and business English and IELTS preparation. I had a lot of different students, and I learned that I want to work in universities. I loved my children. I was exhausted. I couldn't do it. I quit. And I moved to older students. In Taipei, I do a lot of hiking and sports. This is my fitness group, so I actually lead community workouts as well. So some days I teach a business English class in the morning, then I do an academic writing seminar in the afternoon, and then I lead a bunch of people to sweat in the park together. It makes for a long Wednesday, but it's fun. Good stuff. Lastly, I take photos of insects and wildlife in Taiwan. This is my personal hobby. One of the reasons I came to Taiwan is for the beautiful nature. Taiwan has 2% of the world's species of insects. Did you know that? That's horrifying and beautiful. It's both. So I'm really happy. I've taken a lot of photos like this just in my backyard, which is really great. Thank you for inviting us, our host over there. Thank you so much, everybody. Say thank you. It's valuable to have things like this and have speakers come. So when you come, you support these initiatives, and then you get more speakers and more presentations because the school learns that you want to learn. So thanks for coming. Again, we're talking about graphs, charts, and visuals. General agenda. We're going to talk about language structure, selecting evidence, graphs and charts, how to talk about graphs and charts, other visuals. There will be some times for some participation where you can talk to some people around you, or perhaps participate. Anytime, ask a question. I'm American. We interrupt the speaker all the time. If you have a question and I go 5 slides later and then I say, do you have any questions? And I have to go back 5 slides. That's more inconvenient. So just raise your hand if you have a question, okay? Selecting and incorporating evidence to support your arguments, section 1. Every professional presentation needs strong arguments that persuade or educate the audience. So, what evidence could you use? If you have an argument, that's the people should quit smoking. That is an argument. What evidence should you use? What's the evidence? Anybody? What is evidence? I can call names on the sheet. So the evidence. Arguments need evidence. So let's do this. Evidence is facts and data. All evidence needs to be credible, relevant, and trustworthy. Those 3 things. You might have credible evidence, but it's not really relevant. It has to be related. Sometimes credible people give evidence, but they're not very trustworthy. I don't want to say politicians, but you know what I mean. So peer-reviewed international academic journals, this is where we're seeking the most information in our life. Peer-reviewed international academic journals, right? Secondly, government agencies are a great place to find data, to find evidence. Research institutions are third. I think they're all good. I think they're all great. Nonprofits and non-governmental organizations, I put them at the bottom because it's less common, but they do publish good research. Okay? If you use other sources, I suggest you explain why that source is credible, relevant, and trustworthy. I'm just going to keep going. Is that okay? Expert opinions. Are they credible, relevant, and trustworthy? A little less. Yeah? A little less. One research paper that's published that has been reviewed by many people and many authors, that is more valuable than one person saying their one expert opinion. Yeah? Even lower, case studies and anecdotes, when we're just looking at personal stories, even lower. And so what I say is on the news, you often bring up experts to give their opinions. Often these experts have bias. There's much less bias in a research paper than there is in one person's opinion. We're starting with this so you can build graphs based on good data. That's why we're starting with this. Okay, so be careful. My friend got sick after getting the flu shot, so I know that flu shots are not safe. That's an anecdote. That's not the way science works. Anecdotes can be scary, but anecdotes do not always share the same experiences as scientific studies. Some people may get sick from a flu shot, but severe illness, hospitalization, and death are very rare, equals the benefits outweigh the risks. Okay, this should feel pretty easy so far. So, using that evidence, if your argument is our marketing campaign was effective, the evidence is a bar chart showing the positive return on investment during the campaign with recent internal data. Yeah, look, there we go. I don't need to explain that. That's good. How you design your graphs, charts, and images, and how you talk about them determine the quality of your presentation. Okay? So in 2018, I did a study with type 2 diabetes, and we gave 2 pills every day to 30 different individuals. And after 6 weeks, we looked at those individuals and we saw that there were 35% reduction of type 2 diabetes symptoms in about 80% of the patients. What did I say? What specifically did I say? Does anybody know? Does anybody feel confident to repeat what I said? What did my graph show? Does anybody remember what the graph showed? We see a problem? Who understood both? Definitely nobody. If you did, that's amazing. Did anybody feel like they understood me and my graph? Definitely not. Okay. I'm going to show you the graph real quick. We'll talk about this graph later. It's on micro-robot accuracy, identifying cancer, and I was talking about a study with diabetes. There's no match, zero match. Yeah? So if you're, yeah, there we go. Okay, we'll talk about it. Pum, 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 pum. The biggest error when presenting data, your words need to match your slide. The audience cannot read a graph and listen to you at the same time. Even if you're talking about the data that's on the screen, they cannot read your graph and listen to you at the same time. The audience cannot understand a graph's data in 10 seconds. Nobody can understand a graph's data in 10 seconds. Reading a graph and interpreting the data and reaching conclusions and listening to the speaker and understanding their main point is impossible if the speaker does not guide you through the points. It's impossible. This is the biggest mistake everybody makes. They put data on the screen and then they talk about something and they go to the next slide. You have to talk about the graph. The rest of today's workshop will be to help you design visuals that are easy for the audience to interpret and easy for you to talk about. Interpret and understand are pretty similar words, synonyms. Using graphs and charts. Quick guidelines. A title in large text at the top, large readable text, clear high contrasting colors, labeled X and Y axes, clear category labels, only the relevant data for the audience, citations for data from other studies. Relevant data for the audience, if you're doing a research paper, it's all of your data. All of your data. Is all of your data relevant in a presentation? No, it is not, especially if you have thousands of data points. I'm going to put an image on screen. I would like some participation. If you see a problem with the image, just say it, okay? Just say the problem, okay? Ready? What's the issue? There's a few. Yeah?
There's no number of the students.
Yeah, it's a percentage, no number. So maybe in the title, it could be academic problems faced by 30 local Taiwanese students. Yeah? So 30, then you would get a percentage from it. Good? I'll give you some help. Is academic problems a clear title? No, it's borderline horrible. It's a horrible title. Yeah? I would say, again, academic problems faced by, let's say, faced by Taipei junior high school students from 2018 to 2022, right? That's a good title. Very specific. Other problems? Anybody?
The number of students, maybe I think that's the percentage of students, but I don't know how many the total students.
Yeah, so total number of students would be helpful. Perhaps you could put here, right, like 20 students. You can literally put it on. The guidelines for academic research papers and the way graphs look is, don't worry about that. Just put it on the screen. Yeah, put it on the screen. Why not? What number is this? You have no idea, right? What number is that? We have no idea. Yeah, we can guess. Do we want people to guess our data? Probably not. Yeah? If you're guessing the data, assume that it's not that important, but you shouldn't have to do that. That's a really bad strategy. That doesn't make any sense. Last problem, there's a really big one on the x-axis. Anybody? Pressure of study weak in English. Okay, that's a space. This needs to be spaced here. Failed in courses, credits accepted. What? That doesn't make any sense either. So this needs to be Widely spaced. We're learning how to design graphs by looking at the problems. Ready, next one. 3, 2, 1, do it. There's no title. Great. Anybody in the back? Concentration M. What's M? Molar? Maybe? Maybe it's chemistry? I don't know. That's a bad thing. So we don't know what the concentration is. There's one more that we've already talked about. Yeah? Yep, exactly. So what number is this? We're gonna guess. Yeah, it's gonna be a guess. We're not really sure. Lastly, and this is where when I teach how to write a resume, spacing is important. The spacing here and the spacing here is different. The spacing should be identical. Should be exactly the same. So space here, so time moves over to the side. This is way too close. Sloppy. This shows me that this person doesn't care what their graph looks like. If you can't do it in the software, just do a text box. Yeah, overlay another piece of text right here and put a white box, cover up time, move time over. Just do it manually. Next one. Consumption of fast food by Australian teenagers. Okay. Number of times eaten per year. Okay. The year. Okay. It's looking better. You got a problem with it? I got a problem with it. So again, we have a little issue with, what's this? Yeah. You don't always need specific numbers, but if you can't really tell, so for these, you see more of a trend, and the trend is more important. In the bar graph, there are no trends, so the data is more important. The trends are more important in a line graph. And I like that 20 comes all the way across, right? I like these long lines. It helps a lot. This is the solution. Is this, you follow this up and that's, no. So you have to go to the, you have to go to the middle of these lines and then go up. That's weird. Our eyes follow lines. Our eyes don't follow the space between lines. Right? So this needs to be 1 dash, and then you go up. You go up from the dash. Finding the middle is very strange. Next one. Super easy answer. Can you read it in the back? It's low resolution, right? It looks like somebody took a screenshot of a really small graph and then stretched it on the screen. Very sloppy, very lazy. So we need high resolution graphs. Academic staff by gender, 2008. That's okay, but where? Where is it? United States, Southern Taipei, NCHU, we don't know. I like this because, so remember when I said you follow the line up? This is an exception. This is separating the bar graphs. I actually like what they did here because this is obvious. It's obvious where they're sitting. It comes up to the middle, and this is a separation mark. Before, it was separating the dates, not the information on the graph. So there is a difference. There's a massive problem. You guys got it. Anybody on the left side? Your right side? There's no X or Y axis titles. We know this is percent, because we can read percent. You still need to write percentage of staff. Yeah? You need to label your axes. Your title does not substitute X and Y axis titles. Okay? It does not substitute. They are different. They are completely different things. Next one, the online sales of smartphone laptops and tablets in the first quarter of 2019. So what did I just say? Anybody? Do we have X and Y axis titles? No, we're missing the X axis title. Good. Speak out. I know you guys know. I know you know the answer. So we need a title here. Do we like the colors? Maybe too dark. There are definitely 3 colors, so I like that. I like that there's 3. And you know, you can come over here, so if we're in March and we're here and we follow it up and, oh no, that's not a line. Yeah, so there's an optical illusion with this one, and that's why I hate it. You think, literally, you think this is something until you have to go all the way to the top to learn that it's not. So it's a bit strange because the background is white. If the background was like a light blue, it would be much more clear what the lines were. Sales in million units, so 40 million, okay. Okay. Yeah, next one. Global mobile phone sales by brand. Units sold millions. What are we missing at the bottom? A title on the x-axis. Good, we're getting it. 2009, 2011, 2013. Samsung, doing well. Apple. Why is Apple there? In that spot. I don't know. It's not alphabetical. It's not based on the most sales. I thought for a while maybe it's, okay, they're increasing sales, okay, decreasing, but that's increasing. There's no pattern, and that's weird. Yeah? This, Apple, should be over here to the right of LG. There's less number, or maybe to the left. Anyway, Nokia should be near Samsung. Clearly bigger bars. Put them next to each other so you can make an easier comparison. Yeah? Why are we comparing Apple to Samsung? It doesn't make any sense. Apple should be compared to LG. Yeah? Put things close to each other. Next one.
Sorry, sir.
Yes.
Is it should have a specific number on the bar?
Similar issue, like what is this number? Is that what you're kind of saying?
No.
Specific number where?
Yeah. Yes, on the top, on the bar. Because I don't know 200 what? 200.
Yeah, you have to do math. So units sold millions, so this would be 200 million. Yeah, 200 million. If you wanted to, you could write vertically 200 million, 145 million, 336 million. Yeah? It would add a lot of clutter, but you could write that. Mm-hmm. I think for these big numbers, maybe the specific number is not important. It's the trend. Like the trend for Samsung is much, like it's obvious Samsung's growing by a lot. Yeah. Next chart. Good, no title. We have field of study, that's okay. We have document count millions, that's okay. And we have high numbers at the top and low numbers at the bottom, that's okay. I think this one's a lot better. Where's psychology? That's the problem. Where do you look? There's too much. You don't know where to look, and if I say something, you have to go and find it. Yeah? So you need to have a way to highlight what you're talking about. if I were to leave this up on the screen, I would have to leave it up for a while so people could read all of the categories. There's a lot of data here, and that's not a strong way to present information. Next one. So we have title, source of air pollutants in the UK from 1990 to 2005. Good. Do we like this title? Air pollution millions? Million tons? Do we like that title? Is it too close to these numbers? It's too close to these numbers. We need to space this out, and there's no title on the x-axis again. Even though it says, obviously, it's years. We don't care. Put years. Put years, put years, put years, put years. Don't let people guess if you can help it. 1993, that's the best year. Good. Don't ask why. Transport, light blue, industry, total air pollutions. Okay. What's this one? Not number, what's the color? It's kind of hard to tell. When you look at this whole graph, it's easy to separate, and then you look up there and you say, okay, the lightest blue, okay, so that's transport. The semi-lighter blue, that's industry, semi-light, this is semi-lighter blue. It's hard to tell which one. How do we fix this? Just switch your key. This is a key or a legend. Just change the order. Dark blue's on top. Put dark blue, or no, it's not even dark blue. Mostly dark blue. Move it up. Very light blue is closer to the bottom. Move very light blue down. I can't even talk about the colors. If I can't talk about the colors, how can you talk about the graph? Yeah? Makes no sense. Very, very challenging. Let's mix it up. What does that say? So academic freedom index, so the countries who have the freedom to do stuff. All the red, okay, so China, Bangladesh, Cambodia, Thailand. Oh, so those are Asian countries. So Asians in red, right? You sure? Okay, so what's in red? West Asian. No, it's not, because Uzbekistan is up here. Kazakhstan's up there. Those are Western Asian countries. What's in blue? Nepal and Uzbekistan. What do they have in common? Does anybody know the pattern? No. It's deviation from the mean. So this middle line is the average, and they are far enough away from the average to get their own color. If you're close to the line, you're gray, but not Kazakhstan. They're not far enough away from the line, but Uzbekistan is. Hard to interpret. If I were to explain it, it would make more sense, but this is really hard. Also, what's under Korea? Something's there. It doesn't make any sense to have things covering up themselves. What this means is if you're on this bottom left, you have very little freedom to what to learn. And if you're up on the top right, you have a lot of freedom of what you learn. Which countries have a lot of banned books? South Korea. Banned books, right? Okay. Deliberative Democracy Index. So countries that have more democratic processes in their government are dark blue. Less democratic processes in their government are dark red. But you only know that because that's what I told you. The graph doesn't tell that story. I tell that story. People in the back, what is this? Can you read it? No. It's just 0, 0.25, 0.05, 0.175, 0.75, and 1. So instant, just that has to be 20 times bigger. Okay. Obvious problems. Title is very vague. There's no X and Y axes labels, but the colors are clear. This is what Google Slides gives you when you press Insert Slides. So I would say Google Slides is not giving you everything you need to make a good graph. Yeah? They're assuming Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, Team 4, they assume that's clear enough, and I'm telling you, I don't think it's clear enough. Points scored, okay, 100 points. Just write points scored on the left as well. Let's fix it. I've added some information. I've added number of points scored, I've added teams, and I've changed the title. Points scored by 4 high school basketball teams in periods 1 and 2. Now that you see this chart, this should feel good. Based on all the crap that we just looked at, this should feel nice. A large title and text at the top, large readable text, clear high contrasting colors, labeled X and Y axes, clear category labels, only the relevant data for the audience, citations for data from other studies. No citation, it's our study. And lastly, it is a high resolution image. So I like it. How can we improve it? So you've learned a lot about good graphs, charts, and images, but you haven't learned one of the hardest things. Does anybody have any idea how we can improve it?
Maybe we can change the color of the data, the bar, blue to color different.
So maybe like orange and blue?
Yes.
Yeah, it would make it easier to talk about, so light blue, dark blue. It's not bad. That would be a small change, maybe a small improvement. I don't hate these colors though, because they look good. And there's only 2. If there was a third blue, I would say definitely not. Have blue, yellow, green. Yeah, something like that. What's the trend? Where do you look? What do I highlight? We don't have any of that information. Okay? Same graph. Okay? I'm going to go back. 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 So now, more points in the second period, more points in the second period, more points in the second period. They're together. More points in the first period, it's by itself. So now it's clear one team scored more points in the first period, so 75% scored more points in the second period. We can now compare categories. Here, it's very hard to compare categories. Teams. Here, very easy. Also, obviously, this is just by chance. This is just a nice straight line up with the blue bars. We can tell that the Spurs do the best, obviously, in the second period. So I've oriented it based on the second period points scored. These differences make a very, very big impact on your audience. This is okay, this is really good. This is incredibly clear. Where do you look first? I've made some modifications. Just shout it. Just read out loud. Where do you look? Yep, 500% increase. I'm giving you information. I'm directing you where to look without having to say anything. You don't have to read this graph. You just have to know from this number to this number is a 500% increase, and I will explain it. Again, ready, go. Thank you. I know you all looked at the green, right? Please validate me, I know. iPhone 2010. iPhone 4 in 2010, this is when the iPhone was released. Right before this black line, the iPhone 4 came out. That's so much information. So the iPhone 1, 2, and 3 were way lower on this graph. Samsung and Nokia and LG were killing Apple until the iPhone 4, when Apple sees a major increase in market share. Yeah? You learned so much information just by me saying the iPhone 4 in 2010. Again, the green. So, June 2011, Nokia loses sales to cheaper Chinese-made phones. You look up news from Nokia in 2011, and you see they have big problems, right? This is, in 2009, they were doing incredible. A little shaky in 2011, but by 2013, their sales were cut in half. Why? They weren't able to keep up with the cheaper phones. Does this graph tell a story? There's a lot of other problems. I'm not focusing on the title and stuff like that, obviously. So in 2021, 20,000 US dollar investment, and we see the projected graph, and we see it's a 300% difference or increase. Yeah? My argument, your graphs should tell a story. Your graphs aren't data. Your graph is everything that you've done collectively coming together for information that your audience is there to get. If they want to read your research paper and they want to look at all of your data, they're going to do that. But they're not. They're watching you present something. Yeah? People are there to see you. I could say verbally, right, imagine no green. I could say if we had a $20,000 investment in 2021, then we would see a 300% difference by 2024. But verbally, that's not as good. It's not as clear. Having this tells a story. I think I've got a couple more. Maybe one more. Where do you look? The big green bar. I don't want you to look at anything else. I want you to look at the big green bar. What does the big green bar say? 34%. What do the orange bars say? You don't know. I don't want you to know. All I want you to do is focus on the big green bar. I'm controlling your attention. Yeah? Control your audience's attention. Similar. There we go. Charts. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on charts like this today, but you can't read charts fast. There's too much data. So always highlight numbers. Highlight where you want people to see. You could highlight one, and then highlight another, and then highlight another, and then highlight another, and then highlight another as you tell your story. But do not put everything on the screen together in the same color for a chart. It's a very similar idea. Where do you want people to look? Where do you want people to look? I would also say small cultural difference between Taiwan and the US. In the Taiwan stock market, what does red mean? What does red mean? It means the stock price is going up. Yeah? Red in the stock market is a good, happy, lucky color. In America, red means stop. Red means bad. Red means profit loss. Red means warning. So we always use green to show an increase in value. It is a pretty big difference when you're talking about finances. A pop of color will direct your audience's attention. That's my key takeaway. You control your audience's attention. I like this one. They're cute. You control where your audience looks. You control what they hear, and you control what they do. If you're not thinking about how to control your audience, they won't know what to do either. Do I always look at you? No. Where else do I look? I look at the presentation. So when I turn, where do you guys look? You look with me. And then when I come back and I step in front of my presentation, you look back at me. I'm controlling your attention. If I think some people are maybe not paying attention, I walk over to their side of the room so they feel a little more nervous. Right? That's what teachers do. My teacher in elementary school, she used to cough. Because that one, that sound, somebody will look back. I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm here. Because it's a different sound. So moving, doing colors on the screen, they all contribute to strong presentations. Any questions so far? Do we need a 5 or 10 minute break in the middle? I think so. Can you let me know when that time is? Sure. Sure. Is that okay? Cool. Anytime, ask questions. How to talk about tables and figures. So we've looked at them and we've discussed them. So let's go in more detail. Use as much time as you need to clearly describe your charts and graphs. Please do not rush. Please do not rush. Communicating low versus high context. This is a very different idea. This is like a linguistic idea. English language culture is different than Chinese language culture. Okay? I'm going to be a little fast because it's not directly related, but I think it's important for you to learn some things. So high context, I'm going to go to low context. It makes more sense. In low context cultures, most of communication is matter of fact. There's no hidden meanings. Low context, no hidden meanings. High context, some hidden meanings. I like dumplings. This does not mean I want to eat dumplings now. I use this example because I'll be with my friends and I say, oh, I love dumplings. And they go, but there's no dumplings around here. I say, no. I just said I love dumplings, not I want to eat dumplings, right? It's very different. Within high context culture, so this is low. High, it's important to be able to read between the lines and to reflect on what is being said, and more importantly, what is not being said. So hidden meanings. English culture has very few hidden meanings. Chinese as a language is very high context. That's why direct translations to English are often too vague. When someone translates to English, I say, what does that mean? What are you talking about? Yeah? So you need to change the English culture that you're operating in. English, straightforward and literal. If I want you to understand blue, I have to say blue. I'm going to skip through this. Yep, good. Here's an example. So on the left, we have low context languages and on the cultures, and on the right, we have high context cultures. Most of Asia is high context. Yeah? So direct translations of Asian presentations, for me, are very vague. They're unclear. I don't know what the point, I don't know what the message is. On the other side, Germany and the US are very low context. We're very direct. Even our feedback is direct. Yeah? If you do something wrong, we'll tell you you're doing something wrong. How does this work? Does anybody know any Japanese? What does sumimasen mean? Excuse me, or? Sorry, or? Sometimes thank you, or? I'm sorry for interrupting you, I'm leaving now, sumimasen. Yeah? It's a high context language. When you say it matters. English, I say, I'm sorry for bothering you. Please excuse me. Can I have your attention? I'm sorry for interrupting. Yeah, we have all specific phrases for all of those, but in Japan, it's sumimasen. Similar, sugoi. Not great, fantastic, awesome, amazing, wonderful. Everything is sugoi. And the way you say sugoi, sugoi. Sugoi! Majide suge. Right? It changes. I use Japanese as an example because it's easier for me to understand than Chinese, and I can't speak Chinese very well. Oishii, delicious. If you go to Japan, everything is delicious. Oishii, 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 oishii desu, right? Always one word. But in English, tasty, rich, sweet, savory. We have many different words to describe them, and they matter on the context. What you're eating matters. In Japan, it matters how you say it and when you say it, not what you say. That's the difference. So we want to be direct. We want to be very direct. When you're talking about your tables and your figures, we need graph introductions. We need example data points. This helps the audience with how to read your graph. We need interesting trends. We need outlying data. Perhaps give an explanation of the outlying data or surprising data and your conclusions. This is your information. This is not them to determine. You have to give it to them. So here's our fake. I talked about this before when I talked about diabetes, but it's not about diabetes, it's about cancer. So it's fake data. We're going to use this a lot. It's not real. Okay? I made this up. Okay, so to refresh our memory, we're going to talk about how to talk about it. How to talk about a graph. So first, we introduce the parts of your tables or figures. Read your title. This graph is titled Microrobot Accuracy in Identifying Lung Cancer at Various Stages. On the y-axis, we have identification accuracy in percent, and on the x-axis, we have lung cancer stage. Remember, we're directing our audience where we want them to look. Secondly, on the x-axis, the categories are stage 1 lung cancer, stage 2 lung cancer, and stage 3 lung cancer. This is what I mean by low context language. Read your graph. Next, talk about an example data point. Discuss only the key parts of your tables and figures. Connect the key parts to crucial research outcomes. Your tables and figures support your research outcomes. Okay, what does that look like? See, I've highlighted a point now. I've highlighted a dot and said 52%. So I would say the microrobots were able to correctly identify stage 1 lung cancer 52% of the time. That's a key data point. This is nearly 20% more accurate than current methods. So I've added a point to the graph. Yeah, I'm directing your attention. There we go. Wow, the points changed. Interesting trends. As cancers progress and become more serious, the microrobot accuracy increases, peaking at 79% identification accuracy at stage 3 cancer. If you look at the graph, where are you looking? 79%. Yeah, matches what I say. Conclusion. In conclusion, these microrobots are able to more accurately identify lung cancer as it progresses in severity, and they are far more accurate than traditional methods. So I highlight traditional methods at the very end to show a comparison. Yeah? Yeah, we'll just leave it there. This is all of the same text. So when I say take your time, I mean take your time. Don't rush through this stuff. Prepare this information, script it out, practice it, practice it, practice it, practice it, practice it, and be comfortable with it. It looks like a lot of words for a simple graph, but it's necessary. Remember, you are the expert. It's easy for you. You have had many months to understand your data and your graphs. The audience, however, will be trying to understand your data and enjoy your presentation at the same time. So they don't have any knowledge you have. Here's how it would look. I'm going to get close. I won't be exactly right. My graph is titled Microrobot Accuracy in Identifying Lung Stage Cancer at Various Stages. On the y-axis, I have identification accuracy, and on the x-axis, we have lung cancer stage from stage 1 to 2 to 3, moving to the right. I'm going to do an example data point. Stage 1 lung cancer, the microrobots are able to accurately identify lung cancer 52% of the time, and that is nearly 20% more than normal current methods. Secondly, at stage 3 lung cancer, we can see the microrobots are able to accurately identify stage 3 lung cancer 79% of the time. So as you can see, this is a pretty big advancement, and compared to current methods, these microrobots are excelling, and it's a really good thing for the health industry. Crucial research outcome. Yeah? So that's how it would look. I do want to say, I just used like overlaid text items. I didn't do something fancy. This is just like a green dot. Yeah? I just put it there. These are just 2 lines. I just put them there. Yeah? You can do that too, as long as it's accurate, right? Make sure they're in the right place. But if you don't know how to do this in the creation method, don't worry about it. These are also all transitions. So on one slide, I've got all these transitions to go through the different periods and dots and things that come in and show you. Okay? That's how it's done. Oh, and I got to click through it all. Pop, pop, pop. There we go. Activity. So here's the graph that we saw before. I would like you to take notes on the graph and on how you would present it. I think 10 minutes is too long. I don't think we have 10 minutes. Maybe think of 5, maybe 5 minutes. Try to think of how you would talk about this graph. You are done. Sure. Oh. Like it's gone. It's gone forever. Is it still following me? There we go. Okay, let's, does anybody want to Does anybody want to give their answer to the class? Does anybody feel good? Does anybody feel bad but still wants to give their answer? No? Okay. Here's mine. So remember, quite detailed. So I can tell you, we're going to start with the graph title. We're going to start with the x-axis, the y-axis, then the x-axis. We're going to do an example data point, perhaps talk about this, and then you're going to talk about some trends. So this one, I'm going to skip through a little bit. The title, the x-axis, the y-axis. The light blue bars represent the points scored in period 1, and the dark blue points represent the score in period 2. Here is some quick example data. The Spurs scored 24 points in period 1 and 83 points in period 2. The Spurs, here's the outlying data or surprising data. The Spurs had the largest period 1 to period 2 improvement of 42 points. 3 of the 4 teams scored more points in period 2 than period 1, but we need more data to verify that this is a trend amongst all teams. 4 teams is not a lot of data. You need 30 teams in 200 games, right? You need a lot more data. So here I say, we need more data. You can't have a conclusion. Yeah, so here's the chart again. Did anybody talk about, like, 75% of the teams had more points in period 2 than period 1? Did anybody talk about the trend? No? Okay. It's probably a good piece of information for us to focus on then. This explanation is so clear that the audience doesn't need to see your graph to understand what it shows. Pretend that you're on a podcast, yeah? And they can't look at what you're looking at. So you have to describe in really clear detail what you want them to understand. Any questions about that? We're moving on to the fun part, I think, which is not graphs. Clear and engaging visuals and photos. I think this is harder because this is more of your presentation. Your graphs and your charts are a small part of your presentation, but everything else is a lot more slides. Same thing, large text and numbers in standard fonts, explicit category labels, coloring that is clear on a projector screen, units of measurement, citations for data from other studies. Very similar idea. Here we go. Sorry about that. Data collection timeline. We can see July to September, October to December, January to March, April to June. And when we look at, this is a really common way to do dates, right? One on the top, one on the bottom, one on the top, one on the bottom. It's a really common way to do dates. How would you present this slide? It's an easy answer. How would you present this slide? Dates tell stories. It's a timeline. Yeah? So you're going to walk people through the timeline. You can literally walk across the stage as you're talking about the different points. Here's what I would do. Present information point by point. Don't put everything on the screen at one time. So, from July to September 2020, we contacted local schools with research proposals and we got consent forms. In October to December, students and parents signed the consent forms. What? Oh, it just keeps going up and up. Sorry about that. That's a transition error. In January to March, we had the stage 1 of the study began, and in January, stage 2, in January, and stage 2 began in March. Then in April to June 2023, data from stage 1 and stage 2 were analyzed. So I'm literally walking you through what we did. Counterexample. Horrible, right? This is a lot less fun to look at. It's a lot less interesting to read. You can understand it in the same way, but if you can do this, why would you do this? If you can do this, why would you do this? Because you waited too long and you didn't have time to make good slides. That is the only reason. Procrastination. Yeah? If you make your slides ahead of time and you have time, you will do this. Good presentations look like this. Fast presentations the night before look like this. Don't wait. Work hard. There we go. We're good. Here's another one. So we have the study focus. This is a 3D representation of your lungs. And today we're going to focus on this circle right here, which is called the cardiac notch. The cardiac notch is a small indentation in your left lung that accommodates the space taken up by the heart. Fun fact about the cardiac notch, that's why you feel your heartbeat on your left side. Your heart is actually in the middle of your chest, but it just pokes out just a little bit, and that's why you can feel it better on your left side than your right side. Beautiful. Notice I'm using a fake image, an animation of the lung. A real lung is really gross. Yeah? Some people would be like, they don't want to look at it. Yeah? So I'm using a very gentle image to talk about something that most people might not really want to look at. Very nice. Not a lot of details, just that. Cardiac notch, a concavity in the lung that accommodates the space taken up by the heart. Don't wait to do your presentation. Take your time, design interesting things. Yay! Boo! Yay! Okay, you got it. Research site, Amazon rainforest in northern Brazil. So here we have a map of South Africa. The star is northern Brazil. Specifically, we focused on this winding river in the rainforest. This is our data collection site. Again, the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. I love this example. You may have no idea where the Amazon rainforest is. You might not know where Brazil is. You might not know what South America looks like, right? You don't need to know anything. I'm showing you everything. I'm showing you everything. This is a low context slide. You don't have to imagine what South America looks like. You don't have to imagine where Brazil is. You don't have to imagine the rainforest river. This is good. Cool. So on the top we have stage 1, identifying sample group. Stage 2, collaboration with government agency began. Stage 2, data collection. It looks great, right? It does not. It looks horrible. So please spot the mistakes with the people near you. I think there's at least 5. The color looks gross. I would say the colors. There's too many colors. Yeah? There's too many colors. And is that orange? Is it grapefruit? It's grapefruit color. So it's a little hard. It's a little weird. Do you guys have one?
Maybe the stage 2 was weird.
Yep, stage 2 needs to be the number 2, not the spelling 2.
There are only 3 stages, but there are too many.
3 stages and too many. What is a 6-sided shape called? So we have a triangle, rectangle, hexagon would be 6. Hexagon. So this is a hexagon. Heptagon is 5. Heptagon is 5. Septagon is 7. Octagon, nonagon, decagon. Yeah, there we go. Latin. So yeah, we have extra spaces. We don't need this one. We don't need that one. We don't need that one. Anything else? We're getting pretty close to the end.
No meaning figure by the side.
One more time.
No meaning figure by the side. Data collection. What is the point on the purple point under?
Oh, sure. Just the shape. Right? Why is there a circle? It's a waste of your time. Similarly, why are there these lines? I get like sometimes decoration is fine, but it's like it's in the way here. It's in the way there. Any other ones? Yep.
I think the main context is not clear because when I
Yeah, so there's many reasons why it's not clear. So stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 are so big, but these are high contrasting colors. It's easy to read the white on the red. It's not easy to read black on dark blue. So black on dark blue is a problem. Secondly, it comes out. It's coming out of the blue circle. So there's a double background. Part of the text is dark blue, part of the text is in black. Similar right here. This is a horrible mistake, and people make it all the time. Make it in their title text, other shapes. Text popping out of the text box is a huge mistake. I would say lastly, we never expect 1, 2. It's always 1, 2 or 1, 2. Never 1, 2. We never move down to the left. We move over or we move down. Never down to the left. That's the absolute opposite. Good. When you see something like this in the future, this was copy-paste. This was like an image that Google Slides had. I didn't create this. They had it. Shame on them. I think I maybe added the black text, which makes it much worse. Ineffective diagram approved. So this is the same information. Boom. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, identifying sample group, collaborating with government agency, data collection. Perfect. It's improved. Is it perfect? I see 2 mistakes. I see 2 things that can be improved. With this graph, where does your eye look? Stage 2. Why? I don't know. That's a mistake. If I were highlighting stage 2, fine. But then stage 3 needs to be the same color as stage 1. Yeah? So it's a highlighted block, but it's not clear why it's highlighted, and it's not perfectly highlighted. There's one other small mistake. Font sizes. Identifying sample group is a much bigger text size than collaborating with government agency. I say it's small because most people won't realize it, but when you make the mistake in a bigger context and it's a bigger, font sizes need to be consistent. You need to be consistent. These are not consistent. Yeah. Early in the presentation, I gave you this slide. It said evidence is facts and data, and then I made the big arrow. All evidence needs to be credible, relevant, and trustworthy. I don't think this is the best looking slide in the world, but it gives you something to look at. It gives you some colors, things are highlighted, and your eye goes, whoa, what's evidence? Evidence is that. Yeah? It's not great. It's better than this. It's better than this. Right? That's the point. So you're not going to make everything good all the time. This makes you feel horrible inside. Yeah, it's going to put you to sleep. Again, fine, horrible. We don't want horrible. I have a lot of slides that have bullet points. Bullet points are fine. I'm just saying if you have the opportunity. If you can, use diagrams, use images, diagrams, graphs, or schematics, you should do it. As much as possible, read your slide. Can I make this into some sort of graphic? Can I add animations? Any questions about any of that material? Yeah. So I just have bonus presentation tips. If you notice, these are going to be bullet points. Maybe you can use your imagination. How can I improve my slides? So generally speaking, in academic presentations, academic and business presentations are very similar. Yeah? Except for business, you're often selling something, and in academic, you're educating, but you're selling your ideas, right? So very, very similar in business English. Short sentences make sense. Long sentences can confuse your audience. Long sentences don't make you sound like a smarter person. I think I actually write that. Long sentences don't make you sound smarter. Yeah? It's the wrong idea. Clear English makes you sound smart because you have clear ideas. If you talk like this, and you go like this, and you go like this, and I don't know what you're saying, your English might sound good, but it doesn't make good meaning. That's the challenge. Bonus tip number 2, Don't repeat ideas. A well-outlined presentation will not be repetitive. Only reinforce crucial outcomes. I've said a couple of things a few times, and those are my main ideas. I don't repeat things that are nonsense. Practice your speech out loud. Practice several times out loud. Practice over several days. Find your pace and rhythm. Become comfortable with speaking English verbally, and practice is your best friend. I teach business English at 2 different universities. When we do sales pitches at the end of the semester, it is obvious who has practiced and who has not. The practice people don't need to look at their slides. The practice people just go next slide and they continue talking. Next slide, continue talking. They look and then they come back. Yeah? The people who don't practice several times out loud, practice over several days, find your pace and rhythm, become comfortable, speak. Yeah? It's obvious. I think even the last slide, come on. Where did I do it? Was it a few slides ago? Here, remember when I said this verbally and then I was like, wait, hang on. Yeah? So I knew what was next. Emotionally, I knew what was next. And I said, oh yeah, oh there it is. Long sentences don't make you sound smarter. So I know my slides. In fact, I remembered my slide. It's a very good tip. Practice over several days. Bonus tip number 4, tell a story. Storytelling keeps the audience engaged. Storytelling helps you to explain difficult ideas more easily. Storytelling shows the audience that you have mastered your topic. Today, I didn't have a lot of stories, but I did talk a little bit. I think sumimasen and the Japanese words were a good example. I lived in Japan, so I can maybe relate to that more, and you get to learn a little bit more about me. So you are important in this context. Storytelling beats formality. Formality meaning just like formal. On Saturday, December 2nd, we gave 2 doses to the participant in Group B. Yeah? The storytelling is better than listing. Bonus tip 5, use industry standard jargon and terms. Before the graph was on micro-robots. How do you write micro-robots? Is it micro-robots? Is it microbots? Is it tiny machines? Is it blood bots? Is it micro-robots in one word? Don't guess. If the whole industry says one thing and you say this, nobody's going to trust you anymore. So Google, find out how people say specific things. Yeah? If you think you needed a good phrase for something, Google it. Find out. Ask your professor. Find out. Don't guess what phrases you need to be using, especially for industry standard, right? For topic-specific ideas. Bonus tip 6, make eye contact. I've looked 2 places today. I've looked at you, and I've looked at my slides. I feel that some of you might feel like you know me a little personally because I've looked at you in the eye, or I'm looking around the room. Yeah? If I stood over here this entire presentation and I said, please make eye contact with your audience, and strong presenters like to talk to their audience, even though I might look at you, it's a lot less personal. Yeah? This is a barrier. This is keeping me away from you, right? This is keeping me away from good eye contact. Strong presenters look at their screen and at their audience. Use the full stage to engage your audience. There we go. I also like to walk. It makes me feel good. 7, have fun. Did I have fun today? Do I like this topic? At least I'm passionate. I might convince you that I like this topic. Yeah? Truth is, you don't know. You're assuming based on my energy. Yeah? If I was bored, you would think I don't like this topic. I do like this topic. It's actually really fun. Engaging speakers are passionate about what they are presenting. Entertain sometimes. Be human. Personal experiences are great. Make people laugh. Share your feelings. Totally fine. I've said before, like, It's boring if you do this. This looks boring, and right? And we don't want to look at that. That's a sharing experience. Humor. In English, if English is your second language, humor is really challenging. I put this at the bottom. If you can be funny 1 or 2 times, do it. Laughter is a great thing. It's a good emotion. It makes the audience feel good. Okay, wow, perfect timing. Just a little information about Uni-edit. If you're interested, we edit and translate academic research papers. Our website's here, our line is here, my email, and then uniedit.taiwan. Lots of good stuff. If you have any questions about that, I'm also with my colleague Luis over here, who speaks Chinese. Any questions? Do you want the other slide? Any questions? Friendly reminder that when you ask a question, someone else probably has that question too, and they're too shy to ask it. Secondary reminder that the answer to your question will benefit everyone else in the room. So in Western culture, we ask questions all the time. It's not bothering other people. We have 10 minutes, so you've already committed to be here a little longer. You're not holding people back. You're improving the educational experience. Anything? Ooh, such a good question. How do introverts conquer their fear to make eye contact when doing a presentation? There's a fun activity you can do. So come to a fake room, okay? And put tennis balls around the room. Yeah, so empty room, put tennis balls around the room and come and give your presentation and look at the tennis balls in the room and just practice looking at the tennis balls. Because I can look around the room, like, okay, for example, right? Where am I looking right now? Where do you think I'm looking? You don't know. I'm actually looking at nobody. I'm looking behind everybody. But you don't know that. You think I'm looking at the audience. So you still get the benefit. So you don't have to look directly at people. Put the tennis balls on the corner of the desk, and when you're walking around, you look at the corner of the desk. And right now, I'm not really looking at anybody. Yeah? So you can kind of make some stuff. But the tennis balls help you get used to just moving your eyes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've never been an introvert. It's a hard one. How many times do I practice the presentation?
Yeah.
Throughout making, so every time I make a slide, I speak the slide out loud before I make the next one. And if I don't know how I'm going to talk about it, I've made a really bad slide. Does that make sense? So I practice every single slide I make throughout the entire process. If it's a really, really big presentation, let's say the president of the university will be here, right? 8 times? 10 times? An hour presentation? If it's really big, yeah? You can't mess up.
Yeah.
You just can't, right? If it's a business meeting and you're selling a product, you can't mess up. Like a whole script? Sometimes. So my self-introduction, I have scripted it out in the past because I gave a presentation on how to give self-introductions for presentations. So I had to give a really good self-introduction because that was what the presentation was about. So I wrote it down, I recorded my voice, I put it in my ears, and I listened to it while I was on the MRT and I was going to different places. So for 1 week, I could listen to my own self-introduction like a song. But it wasn't the whole presentation. You can write. Sometimes underneath a slide, I'll have text that I want to say. If I think it's going to be a little complex, I'll do that. Yeah. So the whole presentation. I think if you're giving an end of the year presentation for a class, I think, and it's 20 minutes long, I think you should do that entire presentation out loud at least 3 times. And I think 3 is a very short number, like it's a very small number. Yeah? I think it's small. And out loud does not mean at your computer, hi everybody, welcome to the presentation today. My name is Antony, I'm going. No, talk, speak. You won't always have a microphone. How many of you can give a presentation to an audience this size without a microphone? Internationally, it's most people. In Taiwan, it's very few. Yeah? So if you want to go into international business, you gotta start talking louder. into large groups. We don't have microphones in offices in the United States. They don't exist. Yeah, there is no choice. You don't have a microphone to work with. This is amazing. Yeah? Only really big conference rooms have these in the United States. Yeah? Yeah. Oh, those are two very different questions, right? So the first question was, how do I get people's attention? Move, just move, right? If I'm giving a presentation and I come over here, I said this before, if you're not paying attention, you're gonna pay attention now because I'm close to you, right? And then I'll go back over to the other side of the room. I'll come over here, drink some water, move over here. I say, everybody, look at this. Yeah, you can say many different things. You can cough, you can do all sorts of stuff. I like to say, for example, and even just those phrases, those transition phrases, they get people to come back. If I say, okay, next slide, yeah, everyone's like, oh God, he's moving on. Okay, I'm paying attention. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways to gain attention. How many of you looked at my hand? Most of you probably looked at my hand, yeah? So we can do that. We can do it with our body. The laser doesn't work on this screen, and this is really dark black. So normally you have a laser that can get attention. That's why I actually pointed it at the ceiling sometimes when I was walking around, because it disappears on this black and on the screen. So the second one, if someone's being disruptive, you can be direct. Yeah, you guys are a very quiet and polite group, but you could just say, hey, can we stop talking? I can't hear myself think. You guys were very quiet, thank you, sorry. But just be polite, yeah? I can't really focus when you're talking. Please be quiet, yeah? You shouldn't feel bad about that. They're gonna feel bad for interrupting your presentation, yeah? You're not the one that should feel bad for telling someone to stop talking when you're talking. Just be direct. Good questions, anything else? Do I think it's necessary to ask questions for the audience in an academic presentation? At the beginning, it's not necessary, but it's really recommended. Yeah? So we said micro-robot accuracy, right? So how many of you have had a hard time getting accurate cancer screenings? Yeah, it's very common. I've got good news, right? So a simple question, maybe raise your hand, a show of hands. Mine are more, I'm a teacher, so I want you guys to participate a little bit. I want you to do something. It's 2 hours of me talking. I know that's a long time. So if I can ask you questions and do some small group discussions, it helps you focus longer. But typical academic presentations are going to be between about 15 minutes to an hour. Most speakers won't talk about their research for 2 hours. So you have less time, so there would be less questions. So I would say simple questions are great. Simple questions are great. Show of hands. How many of you have been to Taipei? Yeah, Taipei. Right, obviously, all of you, right? Yeah, yeah. I will stay after for a few minutes if you have other questions. I'm happy to be here. Do we have one more? Do we have one more question? Say your name. Truly. Westerners, we don't know Chinese. And if we do know Chinese, you still need to speak slowly. Yeah? So if some of you have 2 or 3 names, right, in different languages and all those things. So say all your names. You can say, hello everyone, my name is Chinese name. Please call me Alex. If you only want to use your Chinese name, just slow down. Similarly, if I say, hi everyone, my name is Antony David Parnagoni. What's my name? Right? Americans will know. It's Antony David Parnagoni. Yeah? But most other people won't. So my name is Antony David Parnagoni. Please call me Antony. I wrote it up on the board for you. Yeah? So anything like that. It helps settle your nerves because you're just introducing yourself. So just introduce yourself. If you want to talk about your department, my name's Antony and I'm from the College of Liberal Arts here at NCHU. Yeah? That's great. And always talk about the title. If you have something on the screen, you should read it. The title of today's presentation is this. Yeah? So really simple introductions are great. Who are you? Where are you from? It's a lot of nerves to just jump into your data, so don't jump into your data. Take your time and introduce yourself. Thanks again for hosting us. Thank you to the organizers. Really appreciate it. And hopefully I can come back maybe next semester. So I get to go to Sun Moon Lake tonight. Very excited.